Okay, making a video showing everybody how I mounted my satellite dish indoors. I am currently using DirecTV as my provider. This will work on any provider you want, as long as you're using a mini dish. And you need a view of the southern sky. That doesn't look too bad the way I got that set up. And the first thing is I took my window out because the satellite signal will not penetrate glass, especially if your glass has a solar band coating, which mine does, the UV coating. So 100% of that signal will not come through. So you need to do some measuring like I did. My window's 24 inches here by about 48 at top. And you need to get yourself a piece of acrylic plexi-glass like this. I got this custom cut from a glass place. It's pretty expensive. Once you buy it, you have it. This stuff is not quite a quarter of an inch thick. It's a little bit thinner. It flexes a little bit, but it's really strong stuff. The satellite signal will go through the plexiglass with maybe 15-point loss only. That's compared to 100% loss for the normal glass. So all you do is you get it measured, and you basically, I'm trying to do this with one hand, but you basically stick it in flush here. Every situation is different, but in my situation it was very easy because I just put the plexiglass right here and basically use wood to shim it up against the window frame, and it holds. And I'll install it right now and show you. Every install you do with the plexi would be different, but this is pretty good. There's an angle here. You can see the angle. My dish is not hitting not aimed straight at it because I'm facing southwest, and the satellite is basically kind of south, a little bit just east of south. So the more of an angle you are on the window, the less, like in my situation, the less of a coverage I'm going to get. The satellite dish with the signal will kind of aim like this, and also right here you can see when the sunlight's coming in from the south, it does that. So the edges of my dish aren't going to be receiving a signal, so I'm never going to get 100%. If I put this dish outside, I get 100% easily on most of my transponders. In my situation, I'm getting maybe anywhere between 45 to 70% depending upon the transponder, which is good enough. For your signal, you can't tell the difference. The only disadvantage is since I have a weaker signal, I'm going to be more susceptible to rain fade. But it's not that big of a deal unless you're getting the really dark clouds. The plexiglass causes about a 15-point loss in signal, whereas the window causes a 100% loss. My particular receiver, the cutoff point for getting a picture is about 45 out of 100. And some of my transponders are basically right at that point, so you need to aim your dish extremely carefully, but it's very easy to do because it's indoors. You don't have to sit on the roof farting with it, so you can take your time aiming in here. It was very critical. I had to find the exact sweet spot here. It took me like about an hour to find the exact sweet spot to get both of my satellites, because the 82, which is more to the left, has more of an angle on the window coming in, so I'm getting even less of a coverage. So I have to try to get both satellites. I had to really fish for a good spot, and I found it. At first I thought I couldn't do it. When I was just aimed at the one satellite, I kept trying to get the two, and I couldn't do it at the same time. But I moved this thing up and around, and I finally got a spot. You can see how low down I have the satellite. That's because if you draw a line basically from the bottom of the dish, because these L&Bs are never going to be in the way of your signal, so your signal is actually kind of like that, straight up. You see at that much of an angle. So same with the top. So again, some of my sides I might be missing signal, and some on the top of the dish. So I'm basically getting a square, almost like a square on the dish of where my signal's penetrating. So I'll never get 100%. Down here is where I got it mounted, just to a piece of wood. And I even, this coffee table doesn't move, I even put tape if ever it gets bumped around, so I know where to put it. And just screwed to a piece of wood. And if you get a piece of wood that's kind of shaped like that, then it balances itself and the dish never moves. And it's not in the way here at all. And there's my my signal to prove it. And I'll just put the S meter on here to give you some more examples. Okay, we're on Satillite 91, transponder 13 for Bell TV, where our signal is about 60 right now. And to get a picture, you need basically 45 or more. And if your signal is less than 40, it won't even show on the signal meter at all. And this is going through the plexiglass. Okay, we'll take the plexiglass, we'll slide it away and see how much more signal we get. Okay, we were just under 60, 59, 60. Now we're up to about 74, 73, 77. So about a 15-point loss on the plexiglass, which isn't too bad. To get a signal, like I said, you need about 45% minimum. And I will just try another transponder here. I'll try another satellite. The 82, which comes in weaker. Typically. All transponders will come in at a different signal, actually. I'll find a weaker one to show you. Try 10. Okay, we're at 53%. This is going to be one of my weaker ones. 54%. This is why aiming the dish is super critical if you already have a weak signal. And I'll put the plexiglass back in. 54%. Okay, this is one of my weaker transponders, believe it or not, so I'll probably have to re-aim my dish a little bit better. Probably bumped it when I was doing dusting and stuff. This is very slight adjustments here. For 49. There, I just moved it a bit. I'm up to 56 and I hardly touch that thing. That's why the aiming is so critical with a weak signal. Because I need 45% to get a picture. So basically I'm looking at 55%. 55% with no plexi. This is going to bring it down 15 points. So before I was getting no signal and I should be getting one now. There we go. See, now I'm getting a signal just by moving that dish just a little bit. You see my my signal's at 45, 43. That is the threshold for getting a picture. Believe it or not. Oh, they're faded. But I could play with the dish a bit more and get it aimed just a little bit better. Okay, one more thing worth mentioning here. If you live in a warmer or colder climate, like I live in Manitoba, Canada here, the winters are pretty cold. So if you're going to get a lot of heat loss in the winter time. Okay, in my situation it's not a big deal because this apartment's always hot anyway. And I wouldn't say a lot of heat loss, but some. You know, it's not too bad. The other thing is you're going to get condensation forming on here when it's really cold outside. And to get rid of that, I have this air cleaner going. You can just use a fan, anything you want, just to put air on it constantly, and it'll get rid of your condensation and ice. I run air cleaners anyway, so I just turn it like this, turn it on in the winter time, and it keeps the stream of air going to get rid of any condensation. So that's my solution to condensation that builds up. Pretty easy to do. It doesn't look too bad. Not allowed to have a dish on the roof. That's pretty much all there is to it. Here's my view. I got a good situation here because there's no trees in my way. I'm 4 stories up. My satellite would be right up there. Right up there, coming down through my little window into my dish right there. And that's how I get my TV.